Back with the battle over the busway linking the capital city to New Britain. It is a $500 million project, give or take a few $10,000 here and there. Talked about for years, yet only finalized this year. But it's going to be built, we're told. With us today, two state lawmakers on both sides of the issue. State Representative Rob Sampson, Republican of Wolcott, and State Representative Tony Guerrera, Democrat of Rocky Hill. Gentlemen, good to see you in the program.
Happy to be here.
Now, you're against it. We know this. Your colleagues are saying this can be stopped. How will it be stopped?
Well, I'm hopeful that it can be stopped. I'm not exactly confident that that is a possibility, but there are a few things standing in the way at this point. The federal money that we're supposed to receive to pay for this project is kind of up in the air. There's no guarantee that it's going to come. There's supposed to be an environmental hearing coming up shortly, and there are some politics make strange bedfellows, but the Sierra Club, an environmental group that is more often than not an opposing view to the Republicans, is actually on the same side opposing the busway. So there's a few people standing in the way of it happening.
Yeah, there aren't too many people in the legislate that I find that are really cheering this on. How do you feel about it, Representative Guerrero? I know you've supported it.
Well, again, when we say we supported it, this is something, Dennis, that has been going on, not just with the Governor Malloy's administration, but it goes back to previous administrations. And when we first started about this, it seemed as though everybody was in favor of this. Now, once we received the federal money, 80-20, we got the ball rolling here, and all of a sudden, it's become a huge obstacle that people don't want to see this happen now. And again, the legislative body said, listen, it's under the governor's hands right now. Either he's going to go for this or against this, and he made a decision to go for it, and now we're moving forward in regards to getting the money and start planning this whole system with the busway.
So what is the primary reason for constructing this busway? Well,
I think what it was, Dennis, is that we're trying to link our cities together here. We talked about this many a times as legislators and as constituents of ours. How do we get Hartford more involved, New Britain and so forth? And the mayor of Hartford wanted to have this happen. You have the mayor of New Britain that wanted to have this happen, although you had some legislators that are for it in New Britain and some against it. But again, it was about bringing our cities together and combining this busway and getting people off the roadways. That was the most important, about 18,000 per day. Now, as the co-chair of the Transportation Committee, we did have a public hearing on this because it is a lot of money. Let's not kid ourselves. It's a lot of money. So we said, is this really going to reduce traffic? And all signs and all information that the DOT had said we would take off about 18,000 to 19,000 people would ride the bus every day.
A lot of our viewers are saying, well, why can't the money be used to build light rail, perhaps from Hartford to Bradley Airport or something like that?
Understood. Well, first I want to just go back and just talk about how much money we're talking about. To me, that's the bigger issue. I'm not convinced that this is necessarily a good or bad idea, although I've been very open-minded and willing to be convinced that it's a good idea, and I still have tremendous reservations, and I hope I get the chance to speak about them. But I think that the people need to know about how much money we're talking about. $600 million is an exorbitant amount of money. There are similar projects going on around the country, similar busways, and some much greater in length that are sub 100 million. So the reason us spending $600 million doesn't make a lot of sense. That's 20,000 times 30,000. Or in other words, you could spend $20,000 on a new car for 30,000 individuals with $600 million.
Oh, so it's roughly $60 million a mile, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
That's $1,000 an inch, they like to say. But I mean, that's an exorbitant sum of money. You could buy a city worth of cars, essentially, for the same amount we're going to spend to build a highway next to another highway for only 9 miles, where we already have buses going between New Britain and Hartford. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
You know, back to my question, though, but that money cannot be used for anything else. So it's use it or
it cannot. It's
use it or lose it?
It was earmarked for this project specifically.
Is that a good enough reason to spend the money?
Well, there's, you know, if we have to be cognizant here in regards that this is money that has been applied for not just last year, Dennis, but many years ago. And to go back and say we don't want this could have some repercussions. And that's my viewpoint in regards when I say that.
You know, let me throw this out there too. We want to link Hartford to New Britain. Hartford's lost a lot of major employers since this first thing was proposed years ago. If you look at some of the other towns in Metro Hartford, Ellington, Canton, these are really big growth towns, yet no one's talking about a busway to link those towns to the city. Why not?
Well, just as simple as I can put it, I mean, the thing here, if you're talking about economic development, is to not spend the money at all, in my eyes. I think that the reason why our economy is suffering both as a state and a country is because of government spending. And it's just because of programs and projects just like this $600 million that is being taken away from taxpayers and business owners and being used for this project. And sure, it's going to make some jobs, but only on a short-term kind of basis. What we need to do is leave this money in the hands of taxpayers and businesses who will spend it and grow our economy.
What about, you know, and I understand some of the rails will be covered over, paved over, never to be used again. Could they shift this to light rail at all?
They could. In fact, we are doing a study on that, in fact, since you mentioned that, there will be a study.
Is that your preference?
Well, it's always been our preference to have some rail going through there, Dennis. But in the meantime, if this should become a project that does not work, that we can uncover the rails and go through that.
You know, a lot of the unions are saying, you know, we need this for our jobs. Should their opinion even matter in this argument? I mean, either we need it or we don't, correct?
I don't think we need the project, period. I really don't. I don't see that the money that we're spending on it is going to benefit. The DOT is having hearings right now. They had hearings last week and continuing this week about increases in rail and reductions in service. We don't even know if some of the included reductions in service are going to be New Britain-Hartford lines. I can't imagine. You know, I was at the busway event that was held at Central Connecticut on the 11th of August, where the DOT kind of went over the program, and they failed to answer a lot of very important questions. The one thing I want to bring up about that is that there were a lot of supporters there. But in general, they were supporters that were going to benefit from the production of the bus line, not people that were going to ride the bus. Those are the people I have not heard from. I don't see a major outcry from people that are going to use this thing. Only people that want to see it happen because it's a payday for them.
Briefly, final question, does it get built? Yes or no?
Yes.
Probably yes.
You think it's going to happen regardless of your arguments about it? Very good.
Yes.
Tony Guerrero, representative from Rocky Hill, Democrat. Rob Sampson, Republican from Wolcott. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
for being with us today. The capital city coming back. That's next. And if you'd like to comment on today's program, please do so on any one of these venues here.